Hey everyone, Kevin here from Into Fly Fishing, and today I have with me the Sage X 9.5 foot 8 weight. I bought this rod primarily to fish steelhead in southeastern Alaska, but I've also used it to fish for bonefish on the flats in the South Pacific, and it's done really well in both situations. So first I'll go over a little bit about the components of the rod, what it's made out of, things like that, and then we'll get into the performance and my thoughts on how it did in both of those places. When you purchase this rod, it'll come in this powder-coated aluminum rod case, which is really sturdy, has the Sage emblem on it, and you won't have to worry about damaging the rod in transport or packing it as a carry-on. It's really durable. Since this rod, this specific one, is a 9.5 foot rod, the tube itself is 33 inches rather than the standard 30-inch rod tube that you get with most 9-foot rods. It's really not a big deal. I've never had an issue packing this in any of my fly fishing travel bags, but something to note just in case. Inside the rod tube will be a black sleeve that has all 4 pieces of the rod. Again, this will have the Sage logo and all that on it, and it's a nice cloth bag. So you get both of those things in addition to the rod. The 8 weight model of this rod comes with a full Wells cork grip, as well as a cork composite fighting butt. I really like the grip on this rod. It's felt really good, whether it's been hot or cold. I've basically fished it in both of those extremes and always been really happy with it. The lighter weights in this rod, the I think 3 through 6 offer a half Wells version, but anything over 7, this is the only option out there. It has a double ring aluminum up-locking reel seat, which is really nice for some added security. I've never had an issue with the reel becoming loose or these rings even moving at all, so I've really been happy with that. And it also has a hidden hook keeper on both sides of the reel, so left or right side, either one works. And it also has kind of the more traditional hook keeper at the top of the cork as well. The blanks on this rod are black, and it has primary thread color of dark green and then also some metallic silver, and it's a really sharp looking rod. I've always liked the way this rod looks when you're fishing it, and it makes for some good photos too. Now the blanks do not come with alignment dots, so basically you'll just have to get the reel on, put the rod together, and then you can make your adjustments to make sure that everything is straight, but there won't be any help from the beginning, which, again, is not a big deal, doesn't affect performance or anything like that. Just makes setup a little bit different. Those dots are pretty standard on a lot of different rods, but this one does not have it. The 8 weight model comes with 2 ceramic stripping guides and then hard chrome snake guides the rest of the way up. This rod is made for saltwater, but I have noticed just a little bit of rust on the lower stripping guide. As I mentioned before, I've fished this in saltwater, both on the flats and then some intertidal areas in southeast Alaska. And I've always tried to be really good about rinsing it off afterwards because saltwater is really tough on your equipment. So I'm a little disappointed to see that already, but it's not terrible and it's not something that I'm overly concerned about. So now that we've talked about the rod's makeup a little bit, let's go ahead and discuss the performance of the rod. The Sage X is a fast action rod, although I would say it's a little more forgiving than some other fast action rods out there. The tip still has a lot of softness to it and a lot of feel. So not only does that help if you're doing a lot of mending or looking to feel some delicate strikes, but it also helps if your timing's off a little bit. It's not going to totally blow the cast, and it also gives you more feel in short distances if you're casting, on a tight stream or doing some roll casting, things like that, where some other rods, the stiffness, you lose a lot of that feel in close. Now, I do think it's important to mention that this rod does retail for $950. So it's not, a beginner rod. It's not something that if you're just starting to fly fish that you would probably want to purchase. But if you're looking to upgrade, it's a great rod and it can do a lot of different things. But it's important to understand that, because if you are paying that much money for a fly rod, you do want it to perform exceptionally well. This rod is a lot of fun to cast. Every time I pick it up, it's a reminder just how much I enjoy casting this rod. I when I was on the flats, it did really well, double hauling. It cut through the wind at all short to medium distances, and the accuracy is great. And in Southeast Alaska, a lot of the streams are really tight and smaller. They're not your giant British Columbia rivers, but they're smaller, a lot of growth behind you, so you're either casting sidearm, trying not to get snagged up, or using a lot of roll casting with bigger flies, and this rod was able to handle all of that. I would say the only downside, if you started to get some longer distance casts, especially in the wind, it's a little trickier. And then if you're fishing a really long leader, it does take a little more effort to pick all that up out of the water and get a good cast out there. But, for the majority of your fishing, this is perfect. Another thing I really like about this rod is its versatility in fighting fish. It had enough power in the butt section to handle bonefish runs, and I never felt like I was overmatched or that the rod was going to be a problem, even hooking into some really, really big bones. And then also hooking steelhead, the tip was still soft enough to where it could handle a lot of head shakes. Those fish will come out of the water multiple times during a fight, and I felt like I wasn't going to lose them because the tip section was too brittle or wasn't able to take some of those shot. And the fighting butt is really nice as well. There were some times I had to give it a little more than I normally would to try and pull a fish out of a current, and this rod handled it very, very well. I also really liked having the extra half foot on this rod. I don't think it's necessary, obviously you can fish without it, but on the flats, it gives you just a little more power when you're casting, a little more control, and then, if you're freshwater fishing, it gives you a little more control over your mend. It allows you to make some better mends, some softer ones, and then also have a little more touch and feel in the tip section. So it's really the best of both worlds, I think, for those types of situations. And I would, at the end of the day, highly recommend this rod. I think it's great. The biggest thing to consider, it's not even a negative really, is just the price point. It is an expensive piece of equipment for fly fishing. So, if you're gonna use it a lot, definitely go for it. But if not, then maybe consider some other options that are more budget friendly. I hope everyone liked this review. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, go check out some of our other videos. And until next time, tight lines.